The Enchantress, an Arabian fantasy. Written by D.M. Raver. Narrated by D. Gaunt. I sense the beast before I see him. His steps are always silent on the smooth marble floors of the palace, but it is his power that precedes him. I drift to the side of the hallway, knowing I have to continue, knowing that it will be worse if I attempt to turn back the way I came. Best to let him pass me, best not to let him sense any fear. He appears around the corner, his shining white fur enveloping his muscular form and sharp black stripes down his back and legs. Though he was tamed for the purpose of protecting the royal family, he still emanates the wild. I cast my gaze to the laundry I carry before his dangerous blue eyes meet mine. His pace is usually hurried, his agile paws barely pressing the floor, but today he seems to be prowling. His steps are measured, and his gaze moves slowly from side to side. He, however, mostly ignores me, aside from an ill-tempered glance that is nothing more than an acknowledgement of the fear he smells on me. As we pass each other, I don't take in a breath, my hands tightening on the wicker basket. Then he is gone. I wonder what caused his agitation, but still I can't help but marvel at his beauty and strength. As I attempt to return my thoughts to my work, his name surfaces in my mind. Numnarai. Whether or not he heard me I can't tell, but I still quicken my pace down the hall. As I enter the common room, I hear a soft exchange of laughter. It is the toys, Thalop the desert fox, and Gaunt the baby monkey, the prince's favorite animals.
"No, I'm a crocodile. You can't cross the river now,"
Thalop growls, hopping off the chair onto the floor before Gaunt.
"Well, I'm a mother hippo. If you don't get out of the water, I'll eat you up."
"Oh, please, don't eat Thalop. I have a hard enough time keeping him together as it is," I state.
"Sirhira!"
they both exclaim, standing upright on their stuffed hind legs. "Good morning, toys. Why aren't you playing with Prince Valimir?"
"He has outgrown us,"
Gaunt answers as she climbs the chair and watches me fold linens. I glance at her, seeing the stitching on her face draw together, all that she can manage for a frown.
"He is too busy playing with Lomba and his wooden army,"
Thalop explains.
"He no longer cares about adventures through the jungle and the desert."
Gaunt's soft red coat touches my arm.
"Since the Sultan and Sultana are away, Lomba and the prince pretend to defend the entire palace. Valimir sent us away, calling us children's toys."
"Well, yes, but can Lomba comfort him? Can a wooden soldier lay next to him at night and listen to his dreams?" They shake their heads.
"What if he outgrows that too?"
Thalop demands. I stare back at him earnestly.
"He won't. You're too special."
Then my eyes narrow. "What happened to your nose?" Thalop's hand goes to the loose stitching in the middle of his face.
"It keeps falling off,"
he replies, embarrassed. "See, you wouldn't be falling apart like you are if the prince didn't love you," I tell him, taking the carved piece he hands me and reaching into my pocket for the hook, needle, and string. He sits patiently as I sew the wooden piece back in place. I study the frayed edges of his whiskers and the worn fabric of his face as I work. I smile at him when he sighs, his hands fidgeting at his sides. I tie off the string and begin to cut it, but pause when I hear hastened footsteps from the hallway. I cut the string, a bit too far away, and the loose end falls in front of his face. Looking into their confused faces for an answer, we listen to the footsteps turn into clashes of metal, running and yelling.
"What's going on, Sirhira?"
"I don't know, Gaunt." We sit perfectly motionless, hoping any moment to hear an outburst of laughter as the desert crow or lizard that has broken into the palace is caught. But no humor comes to break the tension. when a deep voice shouts, "Protect the prince!" from the hall. My heart turns to stone. The toys grab my arms, pulling me from the icy stupor.
Zahira, he is in trouble!
If their small stuffed forms could have pulled me into the hallway, they would. I shake myself and stand, but I am still frozen to the spot. The sounds of the guards in the hall has muffled, but distant shouting echoes ill deeds against the stone walls and floors.
Zahira, the prince!
Thalip begs, his usual playfulness drained by the tangible dread in the air.
All right, I'll see what's going on.
I lead them into the hallway, unsure of what to expect, but I find it totally deserted. The two toys grasp my legs and peer down both ways fearfully. Clanging of metal and wood resounds from the hallway leading to the front gates. The sound grows louder as the commotion draws nearer.
I think the palace is under attack,
I whisper. The sound of footsteps becomes distinguishable over the distant clamor, but I realize it is coming from behind us, too late. We gasp and turn, but it is a palace guard running toward the sound of the fighting. At first he doesn't slow, but then I look into his stern face and he stops beside me. Curved sword drawn and breathing in rasp, he doesn't speak as he looks down the hallway to the front of the castle, then looks back to us. The sounds of fighting are louder, and now become accompanied by shouting and running. The guard seems torn between needing to join the fight and not leaving us alone. I try to still my shaking and show bravery on my face, not wanting to prevent him from his duty. "Come with me," he orders, and begins running back the way he came.
Where is Prince Valimir?
I demand, as he hurries us down the hall. "We couldn't get to him. Monreals had already taken the main hall," he responds, but then raises his arm for us to slow. Gaunt and Thalip gather beside me, whimpering, and I take them up in my arms. We listen down the hallway to the outer passageways, and hear definite footsteps coming towards us. "In here," the guard whispers, and ushers us into an empty room. He shuts the door and examines the room, but there is nowhere else to go. It is a servant's room, with no other doorways or windows. "Back against the wall, and keep quiet," he orders. As I take the toys to the back wall and crouch down, we hear footfalls and commotion outside the door. There is no lock on the door. The only protection we have is if they do not open it. The guard glances back to us when more noises come from beyond the door. He steps back away from it and stands in the middle of the room with his sword drawn.
Zahira, what about Valley?
Gaunt whispers, trembling in my arms.
I don't know, little one. Let's pray that the tiger and his guards can protect him.
We wait, trying not to startle at each sound beyond the door, and there is many. I can't help but jump when I hear a door being thrown open, though it's not our own door. The guard does not glance our way again, but takes a couple steps back and then lowers to a solid fighting stance. The door bursts open, but having expected it, the toys nor I utter a sound. A group of men appear outside the door, quieting and pausing when they see the solitary soldier facing them. But they enter, laughing, and I see they are not common ruffians as I had imagined. Wrapped in colorful leather and cloth, they carry spears and scimitars, as if they'd been trained how to use them. They do not charge the palace guard, but slowly form a half circle as they enter the room. There are 8 of them, no chance of winning, no chance of escape. But the guard does not falter or move, aside from taking another step backward. "You are trespassing here. You have no right to enter the Sultan's palace. I command you to leave." The intruders laugh, but do not attack him. One of them steps forward, his face distorted by a deep, straight scar and missing eye. Yet he smiles with an air of leadership and draws his curved blade. "How noble, defending the young maiden. The mongrel states with a cool glance towards me. I suppose there is no use offering you to surrender. No, the palace guard replies in a deep tone. I cringe when their swords lift and swing at each other. Please, let this be a dream. Let us wake up and have it to be a peaceful day. The blades twist and flash, clanging against each other. One makes contact with flesh, but the toys and I bury our eyes from the terrible act. There's no hiding from the cry of pain, or the screech of metal as the swords slide across the marble floor. I open my eyes through the tears, afraid to lift them, but instead of seeing the guard's lifeless body, my gaze first rests on a sword on the ground before me. The intruders had started talking, not considering us a threat, but are silenced as I lean forward and grasp the handle of the sword. Thalip and Garut grab my arms as I start to stand.
No, Sahira, don't! Please don't!
I pull from their soft hands and stand, raising my gaze to the group of mercenaries. The leader turns toward me from where he is standing over the body of the palace guard. "Now, lady, what are you doing?" he asks, half smiling as he steps towards me. The sword is the heaviest thing I have ever held, but I grasp it tightly with both hands and raise it steadily. The mongrels begin to chuckle, but the man with the scarred face motions for them to be silent. "What do you hope to accomplish? You can't possibly think you could fight your way free from all of us." A rash comment about rather dying than surrendering urges to my lips, but it is stayed when I realize the toys crying and clutching the back of my dress. I glance down, but do not turn away from the killer. He looks down and tilts his head to look at them, then meets my gaze again with his one darkly smiling eye. "Put down the sword, maiden, and you and those creatures will not be harmed."
Sahira, please don't fight them,
Thalip begs, stepping out beside me. I stand steadfast, but my mind is wavering. There is no use in trying to fight them, but putting down the sword gives up our only hope.
"We will surrender,"
I tell him finally.
"but no one touches the toys but me."
He tilts his head with a wink, then nods, the surrounding fighters already approaching. Very well. I put down the sword and pick up the shivering toys, letting the mercenaries lead us toward the ground level. As I feared, they lead us to the dungeons. At least they stick to the agreement of leaving Garut and Thalip alone, although the toys evoke many curious glances from the barbarians.